The Andrea Doria, a ship that will go down in history as a terrible tragedy and a loss of one of the most modern ships of the 1950s. The SS Andrea Doria was a luxury transatlantic ocean liner that was designed by Italian architect Giulio Minneletti. The Doria's keel was laid down on February 9, 1950 in Slipway No. 1 at Ansaldo Shipyard in Genoa. It took just over 1 year to construct the hull of the liner, and on June 16, 1951, the SS Andrea Doria thundered down the slipway and entered the water for the first time. It took a bit more than a year for the ship to finally be completed and sent on her maiden voyage bound for New York. On July 17, 1956, the Andrea Doria departed from Genoa on a 9-day trip to New York. On board were 1,706 people, including passengers and crew. Meanwhile, across the Atlantic, a Swedish-American passenger liner called Stockholm departed from New York on her 103rd crossing. About 8 days into the voyage, at 10:45 p.m., the Andrea Doria's radar noticed an approaching vessel, the MS Stockholm, some 17 nautical miles away. As the two ships drew closer, the Doria veered to port to allow the Stockholm to pass. While the Doria turned to port, the Stockholm turned to starboard to allow a port-to-port passing between the vessels. Little did the crews aboard the two passenger liners know they were turning directly towards each other. The two ships gradually came nearer and nearer to each other. Soon, the Stockholm appeared out of the fog, and the crew of the Andrea Doria tried desperately to avoid the oncoming ship, but by then, it was too late. 11:11 p.m. local time, the Swedish Stockholm rammed the Italian Andrea Doria on her starboard side, instantly killing many aboard both ships. The top-heavy Andrea Doria instantly began to take on a heavy list to starboard, making the port side lifeboats unusable. Soon after the initial collision, MS Stockholm, though severely damaged, was still seaworthy, started to send their own lifeboats out to aid the evacuation of the stricken liner, Andrea Doria. Before long, the Doria began to send out distress signals, and they were picked up by many ships, such as the Ile de France. The first signal simply stated, "This is the Andrea Doria, SOS, here at 0320 GMT, latitude 40.30 north, 69.53 west, need immediate assistance." Many ships came to aid the sinking ocean liner, and they too began to remove people by boat. In all, they saved a total of 1,663 people from the Andrea Doria. After evacuation was complete, there was talk about towing the Doria to shallower waters, but that went nowhere because it was painfully obvious that the SS Andrea Doria was doomed. Final plunge began at 10 a.m. the next morning as the bow filled with water and the swimming pools began to refill with water. The Doria began to completely roll over onto her starboard side and sink. 10:09 a.m. on the 26th of July, the Andrea Doria slipped beneath the surface and settled onto her starboard side at the bottom of the ocean. In total, 1,663 lives were saved and 51 lives were lost. 46 from the Andrea Doria, and 5 were crew members aboard the Stockholm. Survivors were taken to New York as they originally intended to, and everybody was accounted for. Compensation was given to each victim's family. Both the Italian and Swedish-American line suffered loss too. There was an estimated $2 million in damages to Stockholm's bow, and Italian line suffered the loss of the entire $30 million value of the Andrea Doria. The Andrea Doria disaster was a terrible tragedy which resulted in the loss of 51 people's lives and a beautiful transatlantic ocean liner which had been said to be the safest ship afloat. I hope you have enjoyed this video, and if there are any facts I may have messed up, or there is a ship you would like to see in a future video, please leave a comment down below. And anyway, thanks for watching, and I will see you again next time.